أما بعد. Our lecture, inshallah, has been entitled Af'al al-Qulub, the actions of the heart. It's important that we understand as Muslims that our hearts have actions that are connected to it. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned, "Inna fi al-jasad mudgha idha saluhat salah al-jasad kullu." There is an organ, a morsel of flesh in your body. If it is right and exact, is pure and is wholesome, then the rest of your body will be pure and it will be wholesome. And the opposite holds true. If it's no good, it's rotten, then the rest of your body is going to be rotten. And verily, that is the heart. So that shows the connection that the heart has upon a person's actions. If his actions or if his heart is facet, then it's going to be reflective in his actions. And this is why the people of the Sunnah from a long time ago until today are of the opinion that actions are from al-Iman, unlike what the people of Irja say, that you have to believe that al-Iman consists of what you say with your tongue and what you believe in your heart. And it also is going to come out on your limbs. And it goes up when you obey Allah and it goes down. So the actions of the heart, your heart has an impact on a person's actions. For more clarification and elucidation, what are some of the actions of the heart? Some of the actions of the heart are those things that you can't see, you can't touch it, you can't smell it. You could see a person praying, you could see an individual performing Hajj and Umrah, wearing hijab. But the actions of the heart are from the ilm al-ghayb. It's like a person having al-khawf, the fear of Allah. That's from the actions of the heart. And if a person has the khawf of Allah in his heart, it'll make him behave a certain way. He'll respect his mother and his father. If he's with a single mother, for an example, she's da'ifa. She really can't beat him the way his father will deal with him. So because he has al-khawf in his heart from Allah Azza wa Jal, he looks at his mother and deals with her a particular way. Al-khawf is from the actions of the heart. At-taqwa, al-iman, all of those things are in a person's heart. Al-inaba, a person have a tawakkul, a tayaqqan, a person having yaqeen, absolutely no doubt. So during these days, some of the younger brothers from the Ahnaf, the Hanafi brothers in this country, many of them, if not all of them, are Deobandis. They're running around refuting a lot of the Salafi brothers as it relates to issues connected to Allah's names and attributes. And they just keep writing stuff and saying stuff, and we say leave them, because we have al-yaqeen, no doubt, no shak, that establishing what Allah established for himself in the way of his names and attributes, that's how we do it. Allah has two hands and both those hands are right hands. Wallahi, with yaqeen, we believe that. And all of the jumping up and debating and all of the ilm al-kalam that those people want to do, we say no. It's not as a result of inability to deal with you that we leave you. It's because also from our way is abandoning argumentation for the sake of argumentation. So al-yaqeen, this is 2022, Gregorian calendar. We're about to step into a new Islamic year, inshallah, in a few more days, a few more weeks. And there are a lot of people today from the millennials, from the shabab, who have crisis with their iman. They don't know the reality of La ilaha illallah. They don't know the reality of al-Islam. So people have doubt. Is Islam correct? Some people don't know. Can I support LGBT? The Muslim, from the actions of his heart, is having yaqeen that Yawm al-Qiyamah he's going to meet Allah Azza wa Jal. So there are many issues from the actions of the heart. And as I mentioned, your heart will affect and impact upon your limbs. There's a hadith that says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw a man praying, and he wasn't disciplined in his prayer, and he was moving around, looking all over the place, which is the salat of many people, especially our shabab, because we leave them to get taught at the madrasa, and the dad doesn't take time out to show his kid how to pray. So that man was moving all around. The hadith said that the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Lo khashiya qalbuhu, lasakanat salatuhu." If he had khashiyah of Allah, fear of Allah, knew who he was praying to, if he had that in his heart, then his salat would have been with sakina. You wouldn't see all of that moving around. But when a person doesn't have al-iman and al-yaqeen and mahabba, love, and all of these issues, then he's going to do whatever he wants to do. The actions of the heart. And there are many, many, many. I just want to talk about one today, inshallah, as a reminder to myself and a reminder to you. There are many actions of the heart. But the one we want to talk about today is the one of a shukr. Being people who are, from those who are grateful and thankful to Allah, because the vast majority of people don't give shukr, as Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَلَكِنْ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَشْكُرُونَ. But the majority of them, Bani Adam, are not thankful. Sulaiman and those prophets and messengers of the Quran, they used to make dua to Allah to bless them with the ability to make shukr. قال ربي أوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي. Oh Allah, bless me to give shukr for you and to you, and shukr that my parents as well, I give to them, and they're able to be shakirin to you as well. Vast majority of people don't have shukr. We don't want to be from those people. In the salat, the Prophet told Mu'adh, Ya Mu'adh, verily I love you, Ya Mu'adh, but I want to give you some advice. And do not leave this from any prayer. Every prayer that you make, wajib prayer, sunnah prayer, fajr prayer, isha prayer, whatever the prayer is, and you do ruku' and sajda, don't forget to say this dua at the end of every single prayer. Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatika. Oh Allah, help me and assist me to be a person who makes dhikr of you. I need to make dhikr. So many things that are going on. I came from Birmingham to here. You don't know who's out there on that motorway and that highway, drunk, high, crackhead. You don't know what's wrong with your car. Are you going to make it? Are you not going to make it? Well, the Prophet taught us the dhikr, the adhkar, everything we are doing during the course of the day. But again, many people, they don't give time to doing these adhkar, except when the musibah comes. So the dua is, bless me with the ability to make dhikr of you, and also to have shukr to you. Help me to do that. Because if Allah doesn't give the person the tawfiq, he won't be from the shakirin. He'll be like many of our children who feel and they exist as if they have some kind of privilege. So the kid is spoiled, rotten. All he knows is, I want this, I want that. Give me this, give me that. You take him to the store. I want this, I want that. And once he gets it, he never says, shukran, jazakallahu khaira. That's our children, no adab. In America, African Americans a long time ago, my mother and my father, those people grew up saying to people, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, thank you, ma'am, thank you, sir. Now, just pay attention to your child. This is how it is. It's normal. I don't believe in white privilege. White people have no privilege over me. Because you white, you're right. I don't believe in that. Nor do I believe in child privilege, meaning the kid doesn't learn. His mother cooks, cleans, everything. Put the food on the table. And the kids don't even say, thank you, ma. No shukr. So a shukr first and foremost to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it is important. It is important. to be from the shakirin. Sayajzillahu shakirin. Verily Allah is going to reward and give the jaza to those people who have a shukr. He mentioned in the Quran about himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala, with قَالَ رَبُّكُمْ لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ وَلَإِن كَفَرْتُمْ إِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. And remember when your Lord informed all of you, if you give shukr for the ni'mah that I've given you, I will increase the ni'mah for you. And if you reject the shukr, then my punishment is shadeed. Allah said in the Quran, وَآتَاكُم مِّن كُلِّ مَا سَأَلْتُمُوهُ وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. Allah has given you people from everything you asked Him for. And if you were to try and enumerate and count the ni'mah of Allah, you will never be able to do so. So being from the shakirin is from what the prophets and the messengers were upon, all of them. The Prophet said about himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أَفَلَا أَكُونَ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا. Shouldn't I be an abd who is shakur? Allah made me the Sayyid of Bani Adam. Allah made me the Khatam of the Anbiya and the Rusul. Allah made me and my community, the majority of the people in the Jannah. Allah gave me the Quran. If you were to try to count the favors of Allah upon you, never will you be able to do so. Never. And this was the practice of all of the prophets. And you find these description being mentioned in the Quran about all of them. If you look at Ibrahim, Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned about him, said about him in the Quran, Inna Ibrahima kana ummatan. Inna Ibrahim kana ummatan qanitan lillahi wa lam yakum min al-mushrikeen shakiran li'an'umih. Ibrahim was an ummah by himself. Ibrahim stood up in obedience to Allah Azza wa Jalla, and he was not from the mushrikeen. He was hanif, and he was shakir to the ni'mah that Allah gave to him. And if you look at the Quran, ikhwani, you won't find any Rasul, any Nabi in the Quran except Ibrahim is the only one that Allah Azza wa Jalla commanded us, follow the millah of Ibrahim. So the prophets and the messengers were people who they had a shukr. Now the reason why I want to talk about this issue is, again, to remind myself, because I sit before you right now, shakirin lillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, for the many things that He has given me. But the elephant in the room right now, I know, is that what happened to my eye. I'm only going to tell you this because I believe in it is a dars, fa'idah, and ibra. Everybody's out there, especially you young people, but everybody's out there. And that is, about 3-4 years ago, I made Hajj with a young brother who was 20 years old at that time. And we got close, like I get close to the people we make Hajj with every year. We develop relationships and friendships that last a long time. This brother, a few months ago, I told him I'm having trouble with my eyes. He said, my sister, a Muslim girl who graduated from the university, she's an optometrist. She's not a bum. She's not a bum. A young man, a young Muslim woman who's, not trying to be productive. Just a straight up bum. Don't want to do anything. Don't want to get educated. Don't want to work. Get high. Waste time. Lazy bum. Nah, that sister went and got educated. She's an optometrist. He said, we're going to go to her. She's going to look at your eye. And we're going to give you a discount on the glasses you get. Whatever the glasses are, she'll give you the family discount. I went. She checked my situation. I've always had a bad left eye. It's blind, legally blind. I can't see anybody there. I know Mumsy went over there, so I know he's over there because he's the biggest cat in the room. Mashallah, muscles, Mumsy. But I can't see Mumsy. I can't see anybody from here. Eye is done from when I was just a little man. And this is my good eye, the one that I used all my life. So when we went there, the girl found that I had cataracts. So she sent me to a specialist in Birmingham. When I went to the specialist, they had all these machines. Muslim sister who graduated from Aston University. And her helpers were two other Muslims, a brother and a sister, also learning at Aston University. They started checking my eye on the 6, 7 different state-of-the-art machines. And they found my retina was partially detached. If your retina fall off, you go blind. In my good eye. They sent me to the hospital on their dime in the ambulance. I didn't pay any money. I didn't have to pay anything yet. They sent me to the ambulance, rushed me to the hospital. I went right in. They gave me laser surgery and fixed the eye by Allah's permission. Corona came. After Corona, I went again. They gave me an operation the other day. So right now, I can't see. I'm walking around, and I really need someone to hold my hand because I can't see. Just light. I have a lot to be grateful for because now I appreciate even more the ni'mah of being able to see. We all know it's a big ni'mah. Allah mentioned ayat in the Quran. أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْنِ وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْنِ. Allah made Bani Adam sami'an basira. As he mentioned, ayat upon ayat. Prophet Muhammad says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, man faqada habibatayhi wa sabara thumma sabara falahu al-jannah. Anyone who loses both of his eyes and then he is patient will go to Jannah. And he called the eyes habibatayn. You won't know the ni'mah until you lose them joints. So now I can appreciate the ni'mah of being able to see. Normally, when I come from Leeds and I go to Birmingham, I go out with my son, my little man, I take him to the park. I don't do that now because I can't watch him. I can't see him. Can't even cross the street during the daytime because I can't appreciate the depth of the car if it's coming or not. And I got my little man, blind. But I pray to Allah that in a day or two, inshallah, I'll start to see again. Shukr lillah. For me. Now, the reason why I'm sharing that with you is for a number of reasons. Is that I want you brothers to understand every person that I dealt with in this process of my eye, I was being helped and assisted by young brothers and sisters from this ummah. People who are educated. People who are professionals. And not only that, I'm mentioning this so that we can readdress and relook at how we should be dealing with these non-Muslims here in this country. In particular, the Christians here. This is a Christian country right here. I want to make it clear, so don't get it twisted and don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I am not going to forget those ayat of the Quran that Allah revealed. وَلَن تَرْضَ عَنْكُمْ الْيَهُودِ وَالنَّصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. I'm not going to forget that ayat. The Jews and the Christians won't be happy until you leave your religion. Allah said about them in the Quran, قَدْ بَدَتْ الْبَغْضَاء مِنْ أَفْوَاهِهِمْ وَمَا تُخْفِي الْقُلُوبُ أَكْبَرُ. The hatred, the enmity that they have against you has appeared from their lips. And what's in their hearts is worse. I'm not going to forget those ayat. The Prophet says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, yushiku al-umamu an tada'a alaykum or ilaykum kama tada'a al-akalatu ila qis'atiha. All of the communities and nations are going to gather up together to get this community. Jews, Christians, white people, black people, Africans, all kind of people. All of them was giving dawah to a brother, to a person. I was giving dawah to a person during the days of Al-Hajj. As we were giving dawah, he was like, yeah, man, you know, Islam is really nice. I really like Islam, has a lot of positive things. He said, but there's one thing that prevents me from becoming a Muslim. We said, what is that? He said, you guys kill animals, and you know, the Hajj, you're going to kill all those animals, and you eat animals, and I'm a vegetarian, I'm a vegan. I said, Dad, even vegetarians are against us. Even vegetarians and vegans are against us. Hey. Can you hold back that right now? If you want to establish that's the sunnah, you mentioned that at the end of the dars. If we opened up the opportunity for everybody to make a ta'liq on what the speaker is saying, then we're going to have folder. So if you remember that, inshallah, you put it out there. Is it the sunnah to be a vegetarian? I'm not upset, man, because if I got upset, my optic nerves would be compromised. My eye would pop out or something like that. So as I was saying, ikhwati fillah, vegetarians are against Muslims. The communists, everybody you can think of, Marxists, atheists, Sikhs, Hindus. I'm not going to forget those ayat and those ahadith. So I'm not here telling anybody here that you're supposed to lose your understanding of al-wala wa bara. لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين ومن يفعل ذلك فليس من الله في شيء. You can't take them as friends and protectors. But don't be a Muslim who's flying around with one wing. You can't take part of the nusus and leave the other part. If you fly around with one wing, you'll go around in circles. You'll bump into the wall. Your equilibrium will be off. You need two wings to be able to fly. You need the wing of fear and the wing of hope. I'm fearful that Allah won't forgive me. But I hope that He will forgive me. If you're one of them people, I'm just afraid I'm going to the hellfire, you won't be able to fly. You won't be able to exist. And if you're one of those people, La ilaha illallah, I'm going to Jannah, you're going to have problems. Have to be balanced. So we have those ayat and ahadith, but we have some other ones that I want to show you and I want to bring to your attention and connect it to shukr and us being here. Right here. All of this was free on an NHS. In this audience, there are many people in this audience who, your mother, your father, you yourself, you got an operation from the NHS for free. Your mother, your father. Back where we come from in Pakistan, where we come from in Africa, simple things like a woman being pregnant. They don't have the opportunity to go and get the lady checked out with the baby. We're here in Europe, in America, in the West. You have that ability. So you have to be balanced. You can't be one of those people who goes overboard in either direction. And the balance that I'm calling to is not the balance of loving kufr, no, or shirk. Part of la ilaha illallah is we have to free ourselves from kufr and shirk and free ourselves from the kuffar and the mushrikeen. Lakum deenakum waliyad-deen. That's part of la ilaha illallah. We don't do their ibadah. We don't do any of their celebrations. We don't believe in any of what they do. To the degree, we don't send emojis like this, pray for me, pray for me. That's not our religion. If we send emojis asking people to pray for me, we'll do it like this. We don't pray. We're not from China, Japan, like that. We don't do that. That's not how we respect people. We don't do the ibadah. We don't do the aqidah. And we don't do their Eid, the things that they do and celebrate. So we should be more grateful and more thankful and not be like some of the people who they believe we hate the kuffar, and as a result of hating the kuffar, we go overboard and we're not appreciative and we exploit the opportunities that we have. That's not fair. It's not our deen. I can't see in the audience, but part of the culture in this country is the dole, welfare. Many times in this masjid, we talk down on welfare. We say, don't be a person who takes the dole if you don't have to. If you're a citizen, you have a legal right to get it. Legal right. But don't be one of those people who you're taking a dole and you don't need it. The upper hand is better than the lower hand in Islam. And that's with the upper hand being a Muslim hand. And the lower hand, Muslim kafir. The upper hand is a better hand. What about if the upper hand is a kafir hand? What about that? The Prophet says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, inna allaha yuhibbul abda at-taqi al-ghani al-khafi. Allah loves the slave who is al-ghani. He has taqwa and he has ghina. Ghina. He is self-sufficient. Self-sufficient. The Prophet used to tell the companions, you want to become a Muslim? They say, yes. He said, okay, I'll take the bay'ah from you. They say, okay. He said to them, Ba'i'uni, give me the bay'ah. Ala an la tas'aluna shay'a, that you don't ask anyone for anything. The narrator of that hadith said, one of us who was there and we took that bay'ah, if we were on our horse and the whip fell down, we wouldn't say, hey, young man, nephew, yo, come here, come, pick that up. He wouldn't. He get off of his horse, get back on his horse. Because when you don't ask people for things, they'll never be able to say no. When you don't ask people for things, they'll never be able to come and say to you, hey, can you take me to London? I have to catch a plane tomorrow. You say, no, I can't go. He said, but you remember I did this for you, I did that. If you never ask them, they won't be in a position to tell you that. So how is a person going to be a Muslim there, seeing it's okay to take help, sadaqah, from kuffar like that? And that's the crazy thing that I used to trip out about back in the day when the Takfiri young brothers and the Hizb ut-Tahrir young brothers were moving all around in this country. And the vast majority of people from the Muslims in this country, except the ones that Allah divinely protected them, are eating this dole. I don't make the dole haram, it's permissible. But what I'm talking about is the Muslim lady having a baby after baby after baby, but not telling them she's married because the husband doesn't want to work. So back to the point of the NHS, the system here. If you don't have money in America, you're in trouble. Need an eye surgery, need an operation, you're in trouble. Now, I know there are some people who the experience with the NHS was problematic, especially during COVID. You have to wait all this time. The emergency, you got to wait a long time. But I'm telling you what we're being offered. It's not like that in Africa. I just stick with Africa, where I come from. It's not like that. One of the biggest challenges of Africa. You want to bring your kid back to Africa, Kenya, Somalia, so they'll get away from this fitna and fasad? You want to bring them back? One of the biggest fitnas is when you get sick. You have to pay for the kid to go to school. So anyway, my point is, I went the other day for my eye. When I went to get my eyes sorted out, the people who took care of me in the first desk, at the desk, Muslims in Birmingham. Muslims. When I went to get the operation, who took care of my eye? One of the best eye specialists in all of the UK, Dr. Suleiman, with a beard, Muslim, educated. And I don't know if you people know this, but in the year 1400 after the Hijrah, there's a man from Iraq. His name is Ammar ibn Ali al-Mawsili. 400 after the Hijrah, he did the first cataract surgery. 400 after the Hijrah, over 1,000 years ago. He came up with a needle that has the ability to suction out of your eye the cataract. Once they destroy and break up the cataract, they go in your eye and break it up. They put a needle straight in your eye and pull it out. This Muslim man came up with that 400 after the Hijrah. And then we have the Muslim in our community want to be a bum. Doesn't want to work. He wants to sit there and say, yeah, back in the time in Iraq and Baghdad, al-Islam, yeah, that's true. But what does it have to do with the peanuts, price of peanuts today? With what we need to be bringing to the table in terms of pushing al-Islam forward in our community. So I went inside of the place for the operation. And wallahi, I was going to tell them I don't want to do it today because I had a lot of anxiety. They're going to mess with my right eye. And I remember the laser surgery. It hurt. It was intense. So while I was calming down, I went in, Dr. Sulaiman gave me salams. The Muslim male nurse gave me salams. The lady gave me salam. The male nurse, the female nurse, his assistants, and there was a white Christian lady there. When she saw the way they were respecting me and the way we were, she stuck her hand out to shake my hands. I said to her, I don't shake hands with women. It's not permissible. And besides, if I shake your hands, you may get like some germs on your hand and you put it in my eye. And then you make my eye blind. But I was joking and she laughed. And that's all I was trying to do was cool her out. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. Because as we live here, we got to learn how to deal with these people. Got to learn how to deal with these people. Don't go too far over this way. Don't go far over that way. The guy is in the court of law. And I always tell you this in this masjid. He's in the court of law. They tell you everybody got to stand up. All rise when the judge comes in. And you sit down and say, no, judge, you a kafir. I'm standing up for you. They're going to say, put him under the jail. You lost your case, man. You're black, you a Muslim, and you said that to the judge. They're going to throw you under the jail. So don't be like that. Am I telling you to bow down to? No, I'm not telling you to bow down to the judge. I'm telling you we have to know how to deal with people, with these non-Muslims. But the Christians. I just want to mention this, inshallah, and I'll be done with this. As shukr. We are in a Christian country. Listen. Christians have been given a special position in our deen. The other side of the nusus. They've been given a special position. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, لَتَجِدَنَّ أَشَدَّ النَّاسِ عَدَاوَةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الْيَهُودَ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ مِنْهُمْ قِسِّيسِينَ وَرُهْبَانًا وَهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. Listen to the Christians in this ayah. Verily, the people who have the most enmity and hatred towards the believers are the Jews and the mushrikeen. The Jews, because they have hasad. They have hasad, atidun, killers of the prophets and the messengers. The mushrikun, because Islam is the deen of Tawheed, the antithesis of shirk. And that's why in the apartheid state of India, that's on good footings with the UK and America. And they are supporting India and Israel. Apartheid. Like South Africa. No difference. That's why they hate the Muslims so much. Because Al-Islam is the religion of Tawheed. Not Hazar Nazir. Not the Prophet never died. Not he knows the ilm al-ghayb. Not making dua and going overboard in the awliya. The religion of Tawheed. So people who are against Tawheed are against Al-Islam. And then Allah said, but you will find those who are closest to the believers in love and respect are those who say we are Christians. And that's because from them Christians are priests and monks, and they're not arrogant. If they don't have arrogance, a lot of them, not all of them, if they don't have arrogance, that means that they're open to dawah. He's a Christian, your neighbor. He's open to listen to dawah. You got to give him dawah. So that's what's been mentioned about them in the Quran. Look at the authentic hadith in Sahih Muslim. There's a companion, his name is Al-Mustawrid Ibn al-Shaddad Al-Qurashi. May Allah be pleased with him. He was in the presence of Amir ibn al-As. And Al-Mustawrid said, تَقُومُ السَّاعَةُ وَالرُّومُ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ. Yawm al-Qiyam is going to be established, and the Romans will be the majority of the people when Yawm al-Qiyam is established. Hey, where's my man at? Because this noise is getting in my central nervous system right now. Where's my man at? Is that Eid? I could tell the shape of Eid and Mu'allim. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or this companion said, the Romans would be the majority of the people. When Amr ibn As heard that, having wala wal bara, he said, watch what you say. What you talking about? The Romans, Rome, white people. The Vatican, Rome, in Europe. They're going to be the majority of the people. He said, watch what you say. As if to say, Muslims will be. Watch what you say. He said, what do you mean, watch what I say? Wallahi, I heard the Prophet say that. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's a hadith. So from the hadith is for you to believe that the Romans will be the majority of the people, Yawm al-Qiyamah. He said, the Prophet said that. Amr ibn al-As, he said, إن كان الأمر كذلك فإني أقول. If it's like that, the Prophet said it, then there is the reason for that is because they have 4 characteristics, and he praised them for those 4 characteristics. And some of the scholars attribute this hadith, and they say that this is from the hadith of the Prophet, what he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some people said, no, this is from the knowledge and experience of that companion, Amr ibn As. But even if it's from Amr ibn As, where does it come from? It comes from knowledge and experience. He mentioned 4 things, and then he added a 5th. What's their virtues? He said, إِنَّهُمْ أَحْلَمُ النَّاسِ عِنْدَ fitna. When it comes to fitna, they have the most mercy. وَهُمْ أَسْرَعُ النَّاسِ إِفَاقَةً بَعْدَ مُصِيبَةٍ. And if one of them is afflicted with a catastrophe, they're the quickest people to bounce back. Someone dies connected to him, he loses his job, he gets his harm in an accident, something happened. It's a kawarith, it's a karitha from the kawarith, earthquake, volcano, it's a flood, something happens to them, they bounce back and they deal with it. That's what he said. وَهُمْ أَوْشَكَ النَّاسِ كَرَّةٍ بَعْدَ الْفَرَّةِ. These people, if they run away from the battlefield, which is a bad characteristic, to run away from your enemy in jihad. Rasulullah said, "Ijtanibu as-saban mubiqat." Stay away from the 7 major sins that will destroy you. And one of them he mentioned, at-tawalli yawm az-zahf, running away from the battlefield. The only running away you can do is you're going to run away to go around to come back. You can't run away out of fear. You got to run away to regroup. It's a bad characteristic. Show you a punk, you a chump. You got to stand there and hold your ground. But as a strategy of war, if you have to go and come back, then that's different. Like what the Prophet did, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the Muslims at the Battle of Badr, they were getting defeated, he ran up to the mountain of Badr, Uhud, to the Battle of Uhud. In the Battle of Uhud, he ran up with Abu Bakr, and with Umar, and with Uthman, radiyallahu anhum, to regroup and get themselves together, not out of fear. So don't be one of them people who you're scared to go to the school to defend your daughter or your son. You're scared to go to the doctor. Your wife feels they treated her inappropriately. You got to go up in there and have your face up in the sauce, not acting like a gorilla, not acting crazy, but defending your people, defending your religion. We're scared to go interface with those people because my English is not that good. No, you better go and deal with them. The bully is a bully. Muslims are in the school and there's a bully. We have to step to him. So what are you doing? Anyway, he said, if these Christians run away, they're quicker than anybody else to come back. And the 4th thing he said, hum khairun nas lil yatim wal miskin wal da'if. They are the best people to the orphans, and they are the best people to the poor, and they are the best people to those who are vulnerable. These Christians in this country, the way the system is, don't forget those other ayat and ahadith. Don't forget them. But over here, and the waqi', I got my eye done for free. You know how much this would cost in Africa? And then in Africa, if they were to do it in Africa, did they do a good job? Would they do a good job? I'm not one of those people who put down Africans or people of color. I don't have an inferiority complex. I struggle not to have a superiority complex as it relates to people of, this racist thing. I don't want anybody to let someone make you feel like you're a second-class citizen. Now, in our religion, Allah doesn't look at your colors, your shapes, and your money. He looks at your hearts and your taqwa. No Arab in this place is better than us. Nobody. I'm a revert. Nobody is better than me because I'm a revert. Best person here is by the taqwa. No tribe is better than another tribe. But because we grew up in that racism, I struggle to make sure nobody deal with me like they better than me because of my color. That's not who I am. So I don't want you to misunderstand that. I don't have inferiority complex. Got to work on that superiority complex that some people have. I'm saying to you, this is a Christian country. In this country, they take care of the poor. Do they take care of the poor like Islam said? No, but they do a better job than what happens in many of the Muslim world. And we're recipients of that. So be from the shakirin. Don't you know that the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, man lam yashkur nas, lam yashkur Allah, whoever doesn't thank the people, nas, Muslim, kafir, lady, older, younger, rich, poor, whoever doesn't thank the people, Allah, they don't thank Allah. The fifth thing that Amr ibn al-As said, pay attention to this. Amr ibn al-As said, and there's a fifth thing that they have. Listen to this one. He said, hum amna'u nas dhum malukihim. They more than anybody else stop their leaders from oppression. They stop their leaders from oppression. What does that mean? Does that mean that George Bush is not an oppressor? Obama is not an oppressor? Is that what that means? Trump is not an oppressor? Biden is not? All of them are zulama. All of them are oppressors. But in general, in their societies, they address this issue of zulm. There's a lot of oppression going on in this country, in America, in the West. But they have checks and balances that we don't have. In Africa, you can shoot someone in his face and kill him. Akramakumullah, be caught on CCTV and have all these witnesses who saw everything. You go to court. You don't even go to court. Just pay the judge money, pay the police money, and come back to the UK. It happens all the time in Pakistan and places like that. Now, sometimes they practice the law, but this is our countries. Here, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying for 1 minute that there's not oppression. Amr ibn al-As, he said, these people, the Romans, Christians, whom amna'un nas, they prevent their rulers more than anyone else from dhulm. And we found that here. We found their mercy in some things. They go overboard in their mercy. RSPC, that mercy that they have for animals and all this stuff. But in their laws, there are a lot of things that clearly indicate that what Amr ibn al-As said about them, he was speaking based on knowledge and experience. Where's that experience? Where's that experience? That experience you should know is in the seerah of al-Islam. In Medina or Mecca, when the Muslims were giving dawah trying to establish al-Islam, the mushrikun of Quraysh said no. So the Muslims ran off and they made hijrah. And where did they go? Where did the Muslims make hijrah to? Hajj. Where? Habasha, Ethiopia. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they were African Christians, so that I don't care. Black, white Christian, they all kuffar. The point is, they were Christians. And that Christian king, the Najashi, when he died, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed janazah over him in his absence and said he was a righteous man. He drew a line in the sand and said to Abu Sufyan and those chiefs of Quraysh, there's nothing that separates me from these Muslims other than this line. And he gave them protection. Your Islam and my Islam, the Najashi has something to do with that. Christians. In the case of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not his wife, his slave girl, Maria, the Coptic, she was from Egypt. She was a Coptic Christian, and then she became a Muslim. She's the mother of Ibrahim, the son of the Nabi. You got to know the position of the Christians in Islam. Yeah, you have those texts over here, and we're going to hold on to those texts. But there's also some other nusus. Some of the Arabs accepted Christianity, like a famous Arab, his name is Adi ibn Hatim al-Ta'i. His father is Hatim al-Ta'i from Jahiliyyah. Didn't accept Islam. Islam didn't reach him. If a person is generous, like Somali, anybody is generous, Pakistani, you're a generous person, the Arabs would say he's generous like Hatim al-Ta'i. He's the famous Arab known for his generosity. Him and some other Arabs, they would feed the pilgrims so much food. And the people were like, wow, the Arabs had that. He was the epitome of that. He exemplified karam. He didn't accept Islam because it never came to him, but he had a son, Adi, who became a Christian, and his daughter. And when he went to meet the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he had a cross on. Rasulullah gave him dawah, and he accepted Islam. He told him, Ilqi, sanam al-jahiliyyah min unaq. Take off the idol of Jahiliyyah. Take it off. He took it off his neck and threw it down. Not permissible for a Muslim to wear a cross. Not permissible for him or her to put on his body a cross. Any shape, form, or fashion. He called it an idol of Jahiliyyah. So this man accepted Islam along with other Christians. Did you brothers know in the Quran there is a surah called Ar-Rum? Ar-Rum. You know, Ar-Rum is the Romans. The Romans. The Vatican. Europeans. White people. Ar-Rum. Why is it called the Rum? Because of an incident that happened. An incident that happened. Allah mentioned in the surah, غُلِبَتِ الرُّومِ فِي أَدْنَى الْأَرْضِ وَهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ غَلَبِهِمْ سَيَغْلِبُونَ فِي بِضْعِ سِنِينَ لله الأمر من قبل من بعد ويومئذ يفرح المؤمنون بنصر الله ينصر من يشاء إنه العزيز الرحيم. Allah said the Romans have been conquered. The Romans have been conquered. And they've been conquered in the Adna Ard. They've been conquered in the land of Palestine, Syria, Jordan, Asham. If anybody ever went to Jordan, they have a lot of relics of the Romans there in Sham. One of the 7 wonders of the world is a place called Petra, the Colosseum that the Romans built. They're all in that area. They got defeated over there. By who? The Persians defeated them during the time of the Nabi. So the ayah said that the Persians defeated the Romans in that area. And after they have been defeated, they're going to come back and win. They're going to win within 3 to 9 years. And Allah is responsible for everything. On that day of their victory, the believers will become happy. So the believers became happy. Listen, this is one of the ayat that show Rasulullah was the Nabi of Islam, because there was no way in the world he knew that from 3 to 9 years, the Romans were going to defeat the Persians. And what had happened was, the mushrikeen of Quraysh, because the Persians were mushrikun, they were hoping that the Persians would win. So when the Persians beat the Romans, the mushrikun were happy. The Muslims were sad, or not sad, but they didn't like it because the Christians have a book. They were told, they're closer to you. So when Allah mentioned that they're going to win in 3 to 9 years, the Muslims got happy. Why did they get happy? Because they love kufr and shirk? No, because they're people who have a book. They're closer to us than Sikhs and them people. And that's why it's permissible in Islam to marry a Christian girl. But you can't marry a Sikh. You can't marry a Hindu. You can't marry an agnostic. You can't marry an atheist. You can marry a Christian girl. They have a position in the religion. Allah mentioned in the Quran, Al-Yawma أحل لكم الطيبات وطعام الذين أوتوا الكتاب حل لكم وطعامكم حل لهم والمحسنات من المؤمنات والمحسنات من الذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبلكم إذا آتيتموهن أجورهن محسنين غير مسافهين ولا متخذي أخدان. Today, the pure things are made halal for this ummah. And the food of Ahlul Kitab is halal for you, and your food is halal for them. And halal for you to get married are the unmarried believing women and the unmarried women from Ahlul Kitab, Christian girls and Jewish girls. After you give them their mahar, their ajr, you can marry them as long as, listen to this, Allah said, as long as they don't make zina. So you can marry a Christian girl. Even if she drinks khamr, I don't advise you, you can marry her. She gambles, she doesn't pray, she eats pork, she believes Isa ibn Allah, all of that stuff. She believes all of that, kufr and shirk. You can marry her. But if she's a person who is making zina with other men, this ayah says you can't marry them if they're making zina. You can't do that. They have a special ruling because they have a book. They have a Nabi who came to them. So the point here is there are nusus that help us to stay balanced. Those nusus don't tell us you could be a Christian. Those nusus don't tell you you can be a person to follow Isa and leave. No. Isa ibn Maryam, when he comes back, he's coming back on this religion. So all I want to say is 3 points, and I'm done here, inshallah. Point number 1, you young brothers and sisters, we want you guys to produce and to be productive and to get an education. And I know education is not for everybody. That's not everyone's forte. But what I don't want to happen is for you to be a person who can be someone, but because you have low al-himma, you don't have alu al-himma, you don't have high determination. High determination is you developing for yourself generational wealth. You got 2, 3, 4 other brothers, do your own business. Your father got a business, work with your father. Generational wealth. In this country, in this city right here, we need an Islamic school. The late, great Malcolm X, rahmatullah alayhi, didn't have a lot of knowledge about this deen. He said something that is basic, elementary, and fundamental. He said, any person who sends his child to get educated by his enemy is a fool. Something wrong with you. You've lost your mind sending your kid to be educated by your enemy. Who does that? So for you young people, we don't want to ask Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, we need money. No. We have young people who are professionals. We're moving our community forward. You have something to give. So that's the first thing that I'm mentioning by this talk. That you should be from the shakirin. Get up and roll your sleeves up and make something out of yourself. The second thing is the way the system is. Don't abuse the system. We should be the last people who are the problems here. We are a problem. Antisocial behavior, the way our shabab are acting in Birmingham, kids are getting shot on Coventry Road by Green Lane Masjid. Muslims shooting Muslims because they are belonging to warring factions and gangs, all of them selling drugs, all of them hanging out. What are you talking about? Allah told us in this religion, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. You are the best people for this society because you make al-amr ma'ruf and nahy al-munkar and you believe in Allah. But that ain't the case. I can't see who's here today, but in our class in school, sometimes it's the Muslim kids who are the biggest disciplinary problem. It's the Muslim kids. In London, forget about it. Forget about it. The way the kids behave in London. Forget about it. And I don't want to say the kids, Muslim kids. So from this lesson, I want to encourage you people. Don't mess up and be the problem on the system. We are the problem on the system. We're in the prison. I go inside of prisons to give dawah to Allah. Don't you know there are 400, 500 inmates who come out to listen to the khutbatul Jummah? 400 or 500. And then the next group comes out. And then down the line, they only let half of them come out because they were fighting each other. It's crazy. It's crazy. Our behavior. We're the criminals. Antisocial behavior. So don't be heavy on this system. And number 3, and this is for the older people here. Listen to me very carefully. You older people who the yaqeen has come to you. The yaqeen, some of the scholars said, it is having gray. Worship Allah and continue to worship Him until the yaqeen comes to you. Some people say that's death. Some people that say it's gray. When you start getting gray, it's a sign. You're about to check out. The way our culture is as Africans is that we neglect our health. We eat too much salt. We don't exercise. We eat a lot of starches. We don't have a balanced diet. So we have a lot of issues going on. I'm telling you, I'm advising you, for the Hoya, the mother, everybody, you got to go and get checked out. You have to go and get your blood pressure checked out and stay on top of your medicines. You have to go and get your eyes checked out. You have to go and get checked for cancer, prostate, all of that stuff. And we have to start to readdress our lifestyles. Can't eat all the time and not work out. And when I say work out, I'm not asking a 75-year-old Somali sheikh to go to the start lifting weights. I'm not saying that. I'm saying go and walk, drink more water, get out and do something. That's what I'm saying for everybody. Those 3 points. So I'm going to stop here, inshallah. If I went over the time, afwan ma'viratan. I told one of the brothers get my attention, but he didn't come. So I think I'm still under the time, and Allah knows best. In concluding, I want to make this point very clear. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I am not saying love kufr and love shirk. I'm not saying that. All of those ayat are clear. We live by that. We work by that. And I personally have a problem. One of the biggest fitnas that we have right now in the West, in America, are these people who coming out and they planting the seeds of doubt in the minds and the hearts of Muslims. Shirk is not shirk anymore. Ya'juj and Ma'juj are not, and we don't want those people. LGBT, we can look, no. We have to take what the religion says in its totality. Those nusus and these nusus. And Allah is A'la and A'la. Eid.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. So we thank our Shaykh, Jazakallah khair. Inshallah ta'ala, that's a conclude the lecture here. We will have a break, inshallah ta'ala, about 20 minutes before or 25 minutes before the salah. And another lecture, inshallah ta'ala, will start straight after